it time to consider hearing aids? All right. First of all, obviously, the hearing evaluation shows that the hearing loss is sufficient to benefit from hearing aids. This makes someone an audiological candidate, and that's important. But the most important thing for success is motivation. Does one recognize a problem, and do they desire a solution to that problem? This makes someone a psychological candidate. So to illustrate this, let's take my typical husband-wife team. I changed the names to protect the innocent. We'll call them Mary and Bob. But they come into the office. Both have the same listening demands. They're from the same family, of course. Family members say that neither of them hear well, but Bob is much worse. And Mary claims, I can hear but not understand. Bob claims, I hear fine. My wife just mumbles. She talks from behind my back. She walks out of the room. She expects me to hear when the water's running, etc., etc., etc. So if we look at Mary's hearing loss here, you'll see that she has pretty good low-pitch hearing capability, and she's missing some of these high frequencies. So she's missing in the S and the TH and the F. Okay, so it's understandable why she can hear and not understand. She's got the volume, okay, because she's picking up the vowels. She's missing the consonants. So if Bob said, you know, to her, go grab your hat, and she turns around and says, what do you mean I'm fat? I didn't say you were fat. Well, you said I was fat. That's where that comes into play, okay? Now we look at Bob's hearing loss, and you'll notice that Bob has got both low frequency and significant high frequency hearing loss. So for Bob to communicate, you need to repeat often. You have to get closer. The TV has to be cranked up. Things of that nature, okay? So Bob's hearing is quite a bit worse than Mary. But when we do the consultation, and this does happen, Mary will say, oh, it's very important for me to hear and understand what my friends are saying. And Bob says, at this stage of my life, I've heard it all before. Mary says, I want to be able to communicate with my husband better. And Bob says, if it's important, she'll say it twice. Mary says, I don't want to miss out on the sweet laughter of my grandkids. And Bob says, those kids are too noisy already. You want me to hear them better? And finally, Mary says, I really want to hear better. And Bob says, my wife really wants me to hear better. So in this case, we have two hearing losses. Mary, I'm 99.9% sure that I can fit her successfully, and she's going to be happy, and she's going to be telling all her friends how great we are. Bob, on the other hand, I'm not even sure if I'd fit Bob, okay? Because Bob won't admit to any problems, therefore it's hard for me to supply a solution, okay? So I would be looking for Bob to tell me something that I can help him with. So that brings up the importance of a trial period, okay? If I were to fit Bob, he might have to take advantage of this trial period. By law, a trial period is 30 days, meaning that no matter where you go in the valley or in anywhere in the state, there's a 30-day period that you can return your hearing aids and you should get 100% of your money back. With us, it's 45. Now, caution is be aware of hidden fees. Sometimes people will fit you with a hearing aid. They will have a certain price. When you return it, they'll say they're keeping a $250 fit fee or something of that nature. That's illegal, so be aware of that. Now, the national average return rate is 15%, which is the lowest it's been in probably 20 years. A lot of that has to do with the change in style and the change in technology. With us, it's 3%, okay? And I'd love to tell you it's because we're so incredibly good, no one would ever return their hearing aids, but the fact is, it's our philosophy. Our philosophy is don't tell the patients what they want to hear, tell them what they need to hear. So if a patient comes into my office and they say, I really want the smallest hearing aid deep down in my ear, and they end up having a very tiny ear canal or a severe hearing loss, it's important for us to tell them, you may want that, but the best device for you may not be that one. And then if they can accept the limitations, then it's okay possibly to consider a device that's not appropriate because they're willing to accept that it might not be as optimal as we'd like it to be.